Yeah.
not sleeping.
Yeah. Hi,
Yeah.
everyone. We're live. Here's Kimberly Warner, and we've already started talking about the stress of publishing. Publishing a book, or any book, is an incredible success, and it's an amazing voyage, and what a thrill. But my God, it tests the nervous system. So how's it going, Kim?
Well, my nerves are back up to kind of like at that higher level that the reset isn't happening. And the reset is always sleep for me. And it's just not kicking down. And it's not so much like the demands all day long that I feel right now. It's just this ramping up of energy. And, you're the same way. I'm a feely person. So I'm feeling the energy, and I love all the warmth, and I love all the excitement that everybody's showering me with. But it's like each one of those kind of ramps up my nervous system a little bit more.
Yeah. And then you're not getting that downtime. You get in that cycle, don't you? And you don't get that downtime of sleep, because it is like a birth. It's like this incredible upswell of energy.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah, absolutely. And I think and that's just a joy to me. And it's like, okay, this is a sprint and I can make it to the finish line. No problem.
Yeah.
But there's also just, I don't know how this was 50 years ago for people that were being published, but the social media aspect is also just, I don't do that anyway much. And now it feels like there's always something to tend to. And when I'm not, there's something nagging in my head of like, I need to tend to this now. And that, I think, is also throughout the day where we usually get a little bit of that reset. That's not as obvious anymore. So it's a challenge.
It's a challenge. And I think the job of the author has completely changed. 50 years ago, we would have quietly written our books over a couple of years, had a rather cozy lunch with our publisher.
Oh, that's so
I know. Especially if it's Elisa. Anyway, cozy lunch with our publisher. And then it would have been published, and then we might have gone and done a few events, but there was none of this relentless, well, we have to be marketers and publicity agents. We have to be all these things. We have to be up and on our feet and on call. And it is really intense.
Yeah, it's intense. Here's the book. I did.
There it is.
Yay! So this is. Should I tell them the truth?
Yes.
I don't even have the copy. This is also probably another thing about publishing these days. It's, from the distributor, it hasn't even arrived yet. This is a fake cover on Ocean Vuong's On Earth We Are Briefly Gorgeous. And look at that, all this stuff that just fell out. These are all my little cutouts of excerpts I've been reading for social media from the manuscript. I'm like,
okay,
what a mess.
Behind the curtain. This is what it's like. Thing is, you do social media very well. I've just been, the whole of this afternoon, I have been deep diving into everything you've been putting out, and you do it. You do it very well, but I know the toll is something you deal with once the camera's off, right?
Yeah. And I'm an introverted extrovert. I do the public stuff fine, and I get all jazzed about it, and it's fun. I restore in privacy. I restore in quiet. Even one of my lovely people that have sponsored part of the tour, and I'm going to be doing a party with her and bookstore stuff. And I said, is there a reflexology in the neighborhood? Because I'd love to get, some downtime. And she said, I'll look for you. She said, but I'd be happy to give you some energy work too. And even that, I'm like, no. I just want to close a door.
Right. And not speak. And just to push a little bit further into that, what are your nerves like in terms of like stage fright, performing, turning up? How are you with all of that?
That's fine. It's really weird. Yeah, I performed ballet for years, and always the stage was fine. It's the before and the after. It's the doing is just like, oh God, what was I this is so wonderful. I don't have that. I mean, sure, I can feel the sweat and all of that stuff, but it just feeds the joy of it.
Okay.
It's just that I have a nervous system that's like a little delicate butterfly.
Right. Yeah.
And when its wings start fluttering, it has a hard time. The fluttering doesn't slow down as quickly as I'd like it to.
Yeah.
I'm getting better at taking good old pharmaceuticals. I think that I have a nervous system that benefits from just those hard resets. And it's like, you know what? If I need to take a heavy hitter antihistamine, I'm gonna do it. And I've learned that that's okay because sometimes there's nothing that cuts through. People are like, "Oh, take L-theanine or melatonin." I'm like,
no, give me the drugs. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
I did. Oh,
Go on.
I did just get, and it hasn't arrived yet, but I got this neurofeedback headband, and it's supposed to arrive today, and it helps train the brain to drop into the different brain waves that you need to access for different activities or sleep. So I'll report back on whether that
Please
works.
report back. Yeah, I mean, my brain has developed this ability. If I could just go away quietly to a room and put on a podcast, I can do a reset in 10 minutes. I know. Thank you, brain. I didn't know I had that, but I had to develop it because I had to be like on all the time.
Yeah.
And then I found if I just went and lay down and put on a face mask and it has to be a political podcast. It has to be anything to do, it does, Trump or Starmer. I don't know why, but it has to be. So like Pod Save America or... So I put it on, and then something happens. I just feel this moment when my brain I get these kind of waves, and then my brain just cuts out. And 10 minutes later, I'm back, and it's just reset itself.
You and Einstein, that's brilliant, Eleanor. Well, if you can trace back how you've trained your brain to do that, please let us know.
Yeah, I will. I'll let you know because it's been a lifesaver. Yeah, because that sense of always having to be on, and it is incredibly exciting what you're about to do, and you're in it, and I'm so fucking proud, and I'm so happy and pleased about it. I feel like you're trailblazing the Emperor's ship for all this. Really, I really feel it.
That feels thrilling to me. Yeah. I mean, I know you've talked to me about power. And my nature is to hide and, but I'm very much letting myself step into this power with versus power over. And then when you expanded that into trailblazing for all the beautiful women behind me that are so deserving of all the energy and resources and accolades. So if I can somehow help that, for all of us, I am all there. That's easy.
That's what you're doing. I mean, because it's reputation. And you're really, I mean, Heather before you, so like amazing Heather.
Yeah.
But you're standing up and being the face of this amazing publishing house that we're so also thrilled to be part of. Shout out to Elisa.
Shout out to Elisa. I have to say, though,
what the fuck?
What the fuck, right? I mean, how many people I have met in the last 6 months that are like self-publishing or even, hybrid or publishing with an indie publisher. And they're all like, I can't stand this. Like, I don't want to do this anymore. I feel like I'm all on my own. I don't even know what I'm doing. How are you? And I'm like, great. Great.
Yeah.
I feel so freaking fortunate.
I mean, I've had experiences right across the board in terms of mainstream traditional and doing it myself and now working with Elisa at Empress. I've never had an experience like this. No. I really haven't. I mean, her generosity, her can-do, her ambition. She's like, there are no obstacles, like this is what we're doing and I'm going to get you this, I'm going to do this and and the speed, the velocity at which she and the team work is not normal. It's not normal. I'm reporting that from the front. It is not normal. It isn't. And I love it.
Her connections, the way that she's worked her relationships. I am always astounded when she's like, oh, so-and-so's got that. And then 24 hours later, they're back with, it's like some major gatekeeper is moving and shaking something. And it's like, how did you do that?
How did you do that?
Yeah.
I know. There was a bit early on. There was a bit early on when I started working with her and I was just like, is this real?
Yeah,
Because
I had that too. She just commented. She's got a little smiley face
is she
emoji there.
laughing? Yeah, you're laughing.
But Elisa, I do too. I'm like, when am I going to call bullshit? Is this really happening?
Is this real? Is this really happening? Yeah, I know. But you know, and I think that's the other thing in terms of like, I can't believe my luck. Like, fucking wow. And then there you are, and Heather before you, like literally, there it is. Like what you are, it is real because I'm watching it in real time with you. So beautiful and so
it's
amazing.
real.
So yeah, it's real. And so yeah, in that way, you're trailblazing and you're setting reputation as well, actually, in the big marketing world and the big publishing world. You're setting reputation of Empress Editions by the quality of your work and the quality of your turning up. And that is a favor to all of us as well. So yes, stand up and be proud.
And you know, I have to say that let's throw Substack into the mix here too, because had I never, you know, for me, Substack was a fluke. I joined because I thought I need some online platform to share with family. Period.
Yeah.
You know, this was nothing more. And I had no idea what sort of community was going to grow from it. As I look into your beautiful eyes, you know, you're in the center of that. And it's like this hearth is so warm. And I never in a million years, none of this would be happening had I not stepped out onto Substack.
Yeah, so. I mean, ditto. I had no, and it keeps on giving. It keeps on deepening. It keeps on growing. I keep making real friendships like with you and Elisa and, you know, and it is, yeah, I arrived totally, but actually I was just on my knees. I've probably said this a million times, but I'd had 3 novels turned down in traditional publishing. And I was like, can I write? You know, it turned up.
Yeah.
And then Substack, it's like, holy shit, man! So this extraordinary thing is happening, and I know, you know, yes, it's definitely grown. There's been this exponential growth in the last year, I think, which all of us who arrived back in sort of 22, 23 witnessed this sudden growth, and lots of things. Subject Live arrived, and all kinds of things arrived, but it still retains this scent of relationships come first. In my experience,
yes, absolutely, my experience. Going to answer your question, can I write? Hell yes, you can write. Eleanor, I am so thrilled for Fallout to come out, by the way. Oh, that was so fun to do the trailer for.
Oh my God, the trailer. So everybody, if you don't know it, it was Kim that put that trailer together. And when I watched that again, I had to show it to Andy. I was like, is this real? Can you believe this? Like, fucking hell, I've got no publishers ever. I mean, God knows I loved all the publishers I've worked with, but none of them has ever gone, fuck it, let's make a trailer. Look at this. Wow. Bye. Yeah. And it's amazing. You're so clever. It's like
Elisa, I'll say, you know, she gives me kind of the notes and the architecture, and then I just go have fun with it and find the footage, and you know, it's so much fun though. And when especially for these books that I've read and fallen in love with, and I mean, it's like I get to visualize this now in 30 seconds.
and do it so well. Oh my God. Yeah. So on that, the trailer that's for Unfixed is absolutely beautiful. I've just been watching it again. And the music, that's Charlie, right?
Yes. And if you paid attention to the lyrics, he's literally singing a song. I think this one came out in 1981. For everyone that doesn't know, this is my biological father. Never met him. He didn't know I existed, but he sang a song before he died on Lake Michigan in a sailing accident that basically he says, I fear that I'm the father of a son or daughter, but I know it shall never be.
Yep.
Yes. So, wow. When I heard that song, I was like, what? Are you kidding me? And that just scratches the surface. That's why I had to write this book, because there are so many mysterious little things that have happened in the last 10 years that make me believe the veil is a lot more thin than we think it is. I just couldn't not write it down because it made me believe in magic again.
Yeah. I mean, there's so much time traveling going on in what you've just said. There's so much interchange of timelines and voices. And in fact, I've just spent the last half an hour listening to everything of him on YouTube.
Oh,
he was funny.
He was a goofball.
He was a goofball, yeah.
Total Midwestern goofball. Oh my God. And and what's not on YouTube is he had a public television show called Long Ago Is All Around.
Oh,
total Luddite. Like he really liked, the past. So much so that he befriended all of the elderly neighbors in the valley where he built the home. And when he died, his siblings went to the house and got all the paperwork and everything and found out that when those elderly died, they had deeded the land to him. So Charlie bought like a couple acres. When he died, he had 80 acres of land, mostly from elderly who just said, I love this guy. I'm going to give him my land. So anyway, this show Long Ago Is All Around was all about him going around to different areas in the Midwest and kind of talking about the history and the natural history, especially. He was just a goofball.
It's amazing to hear his voice. I heard him speak at a poem and looking at his face and knowing you. And just tell me about the very moment of inception of Unfixed, the memoir. What was that? Can you remember that moment? And was it his voice or was it who was speaking to you saying, you got to put pen to paper right now?
Oh, is it ever my voice? I feel like I am so not a planner. So it probably was a combination of my adopted, the father that raised me and his voice somewhere in the ethereal realm, just like not like whispering, but like yanking on my hair saying, you got to get this shit down. But how that comes through is through my own anxiety, which is that I have a terrible memory. All this wonderful, beautiful shit is happening to me. I need to write it down. So the way it was translating for me was literally just, I'm going to forget all of this someday. And so I better write it down. It's as simple as that. It's not romantic. It was like, I'm going to forget all these details.
So do you remember that moment, that first moment you sat down and wrote the very first bit?
I remember where I was. I was upstairs at my husband's computer. I didn't even have a computer anymore. I was so dizzy had been dizzy for 5 years, so I wasn't working. He was at work. And I remember not the moment, but I remember the general time because I wrote it in about 3 months. I mean, once I started, I didn't stop.
Wow. And in the order that we read it? Pretty much.
Very much so. Yeah. The book with Molly's help, Molly Zakur, my editor, she shifted some timelines around a little bit, but the serialized was largely how I wrote it. I don't even know if to me, it was one of those where I'm not sure I wrote it. It was like, it was just sort of coming through me. I was still really dizzy, laying on the floor a lot of the time in between paragraphs, just like, what the fuck is happening to me? I mean, I was in a state of not I wasn't grounded in myself yet at all.
Okay.
And when I finished, I just put it on a hard drive and I forgot about it.
For how long?
3 years.
Wow.
Yeah, 3 years. But I was happy. I was like, it's there.
Got it out.
Got it out. And then it wasn't what inspired me to pull it back out again was I had worked through a lot of things as I wrote it. And my mom and my brother and some other close family members, I felt like they needed to sort of be part of that. And so I decided to just share with them. And then it was through their encouragement. They said, maybe you should share this with a few other people. And I thought, well, shoot, let's just put it online then so people can do whatever they want with it.
If anybody listening, if anyone's got that same thing going on, like, maybe I'll just put it online. Do you know what I mean?
Look
what happens. Well, no, but look what happens. I mean, because often, I teach a memoir class around memoir and the body. And there's often a sense that like, who's going to be interested in, no, it's just but actually, that's how I found you. These very detailed human stories of a person that I would never have found if you hadn't written that. They are what these are the ties that bind, the interconnecting tissue, which bring us all together and connect us, just as it. And that's what fascinates me. And I had exactly the same experience with my memoir. I wrote it so that I didn't have to carry it around in my head. Right. So it was just like out of me. But actually what it did was connect me more deeply to the stories that I'd needed to tell, and give me a kind of 30,000-foot view on the entire thing.
Yes, that's it. I think it gives us, we don't even know we're doing it, but I think we start weaving a thread through it that gives us some sort of coherence, extracts meaning, all these things that at first felt like, just a massive stew of ingredients. Somehow in the writing, it starts to develop coherence, or at least that's how I felt.
Yeah, that's how I felt. And so were you conscious that you had both your dad's voices coming through during that process? And was that the first time Charlie's voice had come through to you?
Well, that's an interesting one. I mean, even before I knew that I had a different father, that Charlie was my father, I've had not a lot of reoccurring dreams in my life, but I've had one reoccurring subject in a dream, and it is a male version of myself. And and it's always just, we're laughing and goofy and playful. And it doesn't happen every week. It doesn't even happen every year, but I remember this person like viscerally. Even as I talk about it, I get shivers. And this person, I am certain, was visitations from Charlie, because I was like, who is this person? This blonde fun. I kept thinking, like, is this some man I'm going to meet someday?
This was like pre-knowing about Charlie.
Oh God, this is since I was a child. I mean, I've had I've had these dreams ever since I was a child. And I mean, and it just sort of, it occurs, every 4 months or something. I'm like, oh, there he was again. He just appeared. Like, who is that man? I love it.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, it's wild.
And then at what point did you realize it was him?
It was, when I discovered, so 10 years ago was when the DNA test happened. So when I was 40, that's when, I had found a picture of him, one of his albums on eBay, had shared it before the DNA test, I had shared it with my husband without any prompting or context. And I said, who do you think this might be? And he said, I don't know, but it looks like it could be your dad. And I thought, okay, there's something here. There's just it's like a smell, when you smell something and it's like home. That's home.
But how did you know? Sorry to interrupt, but how did you, you had a DNA test with your dad?
With my brother.
With your brother?
Yeah, and he was a half sibling.
And he was a half. So how did you know that? I mean, how was Charlie even in the mix?
Because my mom had always had, when I was 17, before my dad that raised me died, he asked my mom to take me for a walk and tell me the story.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But it was just dismissed. It was, there's a chance that your dad might not be your dad, but isn't it wonderful you belong to the mystery, was kind of how it was told. And I was one of those teenagers, very much like, you tell me what to think. I don't know. Myself wasn't very differentiated from the selves around me. So that was her, hook, line, and sinker. Yep. I belong to the mystery. Dad died 6 months later. I had a massive alliance to him. I just adored that man. And it was put out of my mind. It became a family joke, kind of like, she didn't know his last name, so there was no way to search for it. This was even pre-internet. But no one believed it. It wasn't possible that this man, it was just, mom had a one night stand with a guy named Charlie. That was it. And, ha ha ha, isn't that funny? But it wasn't until the spring of 2014, that my mom, out of the blue, we were walking the beach in Mexico, and we weren't even really talking about paternity or anything. She just wanted to talk about that story again. And she remembered his last name. When she remembered his last name, I had enough information to Google it. And it took 30 seconds to Google that name and see that image pull up. And that's when I showed it to my husband. And I was like,
oh, wow.
This is weird. Thought something's different here.
Understatement of the year.
Yeah. So,
And then,
of course, we had to go to my mom and say, are you sure there was no other men? Because since it was both fathers were dead, we had to do this test with my brother. And my mom swore there was no other man. She thought she was pregnant even when she had this affair with Charlie, this one night fling on the summer solstice at a music festival. So it was not, she just really put it out of her mind too. So,
wow.
Yeah.
And when his face popped up on the internet and suddenly you had a visual, and then did you think of the man that had been visiting you in your dreams? And was there an actual visual like, oh my God, that's him? Or, okay.
Yeah. I mean, it's essentially, I could go grab it, but he's a male version of me.
I was looking at the photograph of him on YouTube and I was like, that's a male version of him.
Yeah.
Right.
And even when I met his family who adored him, I mean, he died when he was 36, so it was very young. So when I appeared, they didn't even ask me for the confirmation of the DNA test. They're just like, oh God, you're a Brower.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah.
That's so wild. And how was that feeling when you walked into that family that you'd never met before?
Oh, well, scary at first. It was, talking back to the nervous system, my nervous system had been so derailed at that point. And while they opened their arms and their hearts to me in ways that many people do not have the privilege of experiencing in this era of DNA tests, I had the most warm reception. But I was losing my mind. It really pulled the rug out from beneath my feet to the point where I was like, Kimberly, just relax. Like, nothing's changed. What's the matter? Like, I was trying to tell myself, what is the big deal? My body was not having it. It was really, really scary. Essentially, I think I just had a 6-month-long panic attack. It didn't stop. Which then made the dizziness start. And so they saw me when I first met them. I was a really dizzy mess.
That was right at the beginning. Or was it
I went to urgent care one of the days when we were visiting them. I mean, I was in and out of just misery. And I told them before I got on the plane, I said, I need to tell you guys, I am not myself. I don't know what's going on. The ground feels like water. I can't sleep. And they said, we love you anyway. Get on that plane, even if we see you for 3 minutes and give you a hug and you need to sleep the rest of the time. You are welcome as you are. And I mean, they, with so much receptivity, they just said, that's okay. We love you. And so that was nothing that they did that made me nervous. It was my own doing. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I've read a lot about the effect it had on your system, and I'm going to mispronounce it. Wait for me to mispronounce it. Mal de def. I can't say it.
Well, you're in France right now, so it is French.
I know I want to say
Mal de Barquement.
Yeah.
Which is bad disembarkment.
Bad disembarkment.
Yeah.
I mean, I know you've talked about it a lot in other interviews, but it is just so absolutely extraordinary that should be how your body presents the experience of Charlie appearing in your life and he was lost at sea. It's like, what the fuck?
What the fuck? What the fuck? And even wild. Just like, I mean, the instability of it, to feel like your foundation has been pulled out, the foundation of my identity was cracked. And then to feel that same destabilization underneath my feet, it's just so wild that my body manifested the perfect metaphor.
It's so wild.
Perfect metaphor.
The perfect metaphor. And actually to circle back to your experience of the whole overall, this sense of magic around this entire experience, although I'm sure that's not the word you've used in your darkest hours.
Woo! So magical.
So magic. I can't stand up. But as an overall, I think maybe we get to stand back and witness this overall globe of magic. happening.
Absolutely. And I'm there with you. I'm standing back and feeling it too. And so much so that I also, I've mentioned this before in other interviews, but one of the treatments for obsessive compulsive disorder, which I had definitely have had intrusive thinking and that, type of anxiety. One of the treatments is exposure therapy. And my growing up all my life, I've been more hypervigilant around my body of like, I'm afraid to feel discomfort in my body. So my body gave me the exact exposure therapy I needed to find peace in the storm. Like I'm always somewhat destabilized and uncomfortable in this form. And my brain doesn't react to it anymore, just like a dirty doorknob. It's like, oh, I'm okay. I'm going to live. It's all right. And with 24/7 of that has just been like kind of a miracle that my body was smart enough to give me something so that I could finally be free of this tormenting fear of being uncomfortable or in pain in my body. Isn't that wild?
It's extraordinary. And it reminds me, I'm going to read some of your work back to you because I happened to get a quote and I wanted you to unpack it a little bit because it's so extraordinary. So you say, the vestibular and stress response centers in the brain are deeply intertwined, and the more we focus on them, the more we amplify them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yes. Isn't that wild?
It's too wild.
And that's
that for people who maybe aren't familiar.
Yeah. So, the book is titled Unfixed. The media production is Unfixed. And that is that idea that we don't need to constantly focus and fix and manage these parts of our lives to the point where, we're living in the ideal utopia that we imagine that we're supposed to be living in. All of the pursuit of that itself basically can tell our brain that we're in danger because the pursuit is somewhat hypervigilant.
Right.
I think there are people that have experienced the dizziness, the early episodic dizziness, like way, way, way back in 2014, even when I started having these episodic moments. There are people that don't have the fixated, like, oh shit, I got to focus on that and I got to fix that. And what is that? They just go, oh, weird. What did I eat? And then they fall asleep. Like my husband, will just fall asleep. And then it doesn't turn into a chronic 24/7 thing.
Okay. See that?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So I think really, truly, the more we fixate on, for some of us, the more we fixate on it, it's just basically telling our brain that we're in danger. You better watch out. Right. Look at that. There's a tiger coming.
And it's a really unfair, vicious circle, right? Like my boyfriend, Andy, he's hypervigilant and he's just developed tinnitus. I hope he doesn't mind me telling everyone this.
Yeah.
And he's meeting. So now he's learning everything about tinnitus. And he's like, he meets loads of people who are like, yeah, I've got tinnitus.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And they don't fixate on it because they're not hypervigilant. And so it's just like, yeah. But for him, that's his whole life has been about check, 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 check. And so it grows. And that's what, when I read that, or I heard you say it, and my heart was just like, that's so fucking unfair.
I know.
So unfair.
And I think it's just some part of our wiring, if we're wired that way. But I was able to unwire myself. I'm not a fixator anymore. I had to
because of the like tsunami of it. Is that?
Yeah. I had to go to tsunami level to stop fixating, but it finally broke in me. It broke.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. So I do think it might be in our wiring, but I also think we can eventually train ourselves to just through sort of the exposure therapy, really. It would be like your husband waking up and hearing the tinnitus and just going, right. It's like me feeling the dizziness and going, hi, there you are.
Yeah, I'm convinced he's going to become enlightened and he's going to become my guru. You're going to become my guru. He's going to suddenly break through, or not. Who cares if he doesn't? I'll stick with him anyway because I love him dearly. It's like, but I really want him. I keep imagining this amazing moment when it's like, okay, and the wave breaks, And so it's really beautiful to hear actually that, that's been your experience.
Yeah, 100%. And
Yeah.
not even, I would say it's not just my experience, but the greatest gift of my life. Because
Yeah.
now I know I can be at peace no matter what. Like, it does not, even us talking this morning, I haven't been sleeping very well I'm not fixated on it. I'll try something, I'll see what I can do, and it's a bummer, but I'm not going to just freak out about it anymore. And it's just, life will test me for sure.
Right.
And it has, but it doesn't go to that same level now where I feel like I just know I can survive it. I know I can survive it. So.
And that bit as well, I think for anybody listening with chronic conditions, that as far as I understand, like there's a clear difference between fixation and curiosity. It's not that you cease to look. Of course, we're human. We all want to find out and understand and find that kind of peace and have that sort of change. But that difference between fixation and curiosity, I've been thinking about it as well in terms of that balance between being completely present, but at the same time, getting out of the way. Right.
Yeah, totally.
How do you do that? And
and I think, Eleanor, one of the ingredients, without sounding too like woo-woo, I think the ingredient is love. Because for me, if we can enter into the curiosity with love and just go, with the dizziness, oh, hi there, and God, I hear the little voices going, again, why are we doing? And you just hold it and you stay curious about it. You don't say it's going to go away. You don't try to fix it, but you just hold it with compassion and love. And I think that there is that, to me, is the distinction between fixation and curiosity. Yeah.
Yeah, that's beautiful. I think that's absolutely true. And there's no doubt that the many people I know who've going through really difficult stuff, often at the heart of it is that sense of not feeling loved and not feeling held, and perhaps not loving themselves and not feeling safe enough to love others. But it's the connective tissue, without any doubt. And on that, did you feel, going back to your father, and I want you to know, by the way, I've been here in the south of France for nearly 2 weeks. Just today, without thinking about I was speaking to you, this is my father's shirt that I picked up. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I love that.
All the time. And as I put it on, I was thinking, that's interesting. And then I sat down, I was like, fathers.
Oh my gosh, that's so beautiful. I love that. Fathers are, I was a daddy's girl, that 100%. And they are such an impressionable figure in our lives. And I long for that. And I'll, even to the point, this was unconscious again, but my father that raised me, his name was David. And here we are talking about Charlie, my biological father, my husband of 20 years. Prior to learning any of this information, guess what his first and middle name is? David Charles.
Dave? No way.
I
knew his name was David. I didn't know his middle name.
Middle name Charles. I mean, come on.
Too much, Kimberly, too much.
I know. That's why I say I'm not writing this story. Someone else is like, I've got these
someone
two.
Else.
Like, I think my fathers are both just playing tricks on me.
They're playing tricks on you. But just to go back to Charlie, did you feel in those dreams and visitations, and did you feel loved, and were you able to, is there a love piece there that's been?
That's an interesting one. I can't say there is. It's a more of a, there's definitely the curiosity, and I love writing these fictional pieces with his poetry where, I can kind of dig into who he was. But he was young when he died. He was 36. And even prior to, 36, he was writing and wrestling with his own ego and still kind of a punk and, dating lots of women. And it's funny. It makes me think that my love on some level is conditional because I have to build not respect, but some rapport with a person to feel that love. And in the dreams, yes, I can feel that like carefree joy and some sort of deep, deep connection, but it doesn't compare to the love that I have for my father that raised me. I mean, doesn't
Okay.
even, I would love to feel it, but I think I've had to kind of come to terms with that in myself. That's like, I don't think I do feel, I definitely don't feel it the way I do for my father, who was there for me, even if he did doubt that I was, you know, maybe he even doubted that I was his daughter, and he was 1,000% there for me in so
Oh,
many.
did he know, or he didn't know, or you don't know?
Well, he only knew that there was my mom the day after the fair came home and told him that she'd had sex with a man, and he didn't have much to say about it because he'd already had sex with 3 nurses at the hospital. So, you know,
Right. It was the
free love in the
70s.
70s.
Yeah.
So he didn't
Okay.
have much to say about it, but
Okay.
my mom did say that he looked at me once when I was an infant, and he remembers thinking, "Is she mine?" And then he put it out of his mind because he felt like I might hear those thoughts, and he didn't want me to hear those thoughts. So he probably did, you know, it
Yeah.
probably did come up. But I think he just was devoted. He was just devoted to me. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it doesn't change the love and care and nurture,
Mm-mm. No.
that blood piece. I've
Yeah.
never met a person who didn't know, a person who was either discovered that their biological and real were different, or that in any way round. I've never met a person who didn't on discovery say, I always knew, like somewhere
Mm-hmm.
deep inside of them, your blood knows. And I don't mean your blood as in, you know, if your fight is a real, but there's something, your gut, something instinctive is just aware, actually, just what the truth is. It doesn't really matter, no judgment
Yeah.
over it, but literally what the truth is.
Yeah. And even my dad and I were very affectionate. After ballet, I would come home and I'd curl up on his lap, even as a teenager, and we would take naps in the afternoon. And like I even have a picture of him. He looks dead because his mouth is all slack jaw, and I'm like curled up underneath a sheep rug. And I just like, I remember sometimes feeling like, is this okay? And maybe that was just because a teenager shouldn't be doing that with her dad, or whatever. But there was some sense that like, I don't know, like it just the smell. It was like a smell again, where it's
Yeah,
like smell is not quite right, not
yeah,
quite right. And I love you, but, and that
yeah,
is what kind of really did a number on my own psyche growing up, is because
yeah,
you
yeah,
smell something that's off, but the story is presented in a different way. So then you end up distrusting yourself. You end up
yeah.
distrusting your own instincts because you're like, well, then must be me that's wrong. So,
Yeah, I mean, that will destabilize and disorder any nervous system.
mm-hmm.
Because, yeah, if the inside doesn't match the outside,
Yeah.
we tend to blame ourselves.
Yes,
That's the
exactly.
basic equation.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
The untold, I think Danny Shapiro calls it the untold truths or something like
Yeah.
that. So
Yeah.
we feel them. The body knows.
The body
And the
knows.
body
Yeah.
knows. And my body knew. My body
Yeah.
knew. But,
Yeah.
yeah.
So the essays you're writing, or the fiction, non-fiction that is Charlie, it is
Mm-hmm.
Charlie, right?
Yeah.
In
Yeah.
defense
Mm-hmm.
of, that's Charlie.
Yeah.
So tell me about that. You finished the memoir, and then what he was like, I'm not finished. I've got more.
Well, I mean, In Defense of largely is just me defending all the different things that society thinks that we should try to banish, So uncertainty and loneliness and living alone or whatever it is. I mean, I even go to like bitterness and the color beige and all the things that I just want to champion, the
Yeah.
underdogs. So that started mostly as that, because I feel like Unfixed is something that was centering around chronic illness, but it had so many more branches to it. So
Yeah.
it started as that. But then, as we do here on Substack, I just wanted to play more. And you guys are also gorgeous writers of fiction. And I thought, I don't do that, but maybe I'll try. And I needed some prompts. And for me, just starting in the middle of nothing didn't feel right. So I went back to I have 3 books of Charlie's poetry. I have 186 hours of his TV show. I have all these different things. So like, why not go into those poems and imagine what was happening on that day, or what did he mean by that? I mean, some of them are kind of obscure. And so for me, it was just a way to sort of deepen into his story. And I really loved second person. I started writing in second person, and I thought, this is fun because then I get to feel like I'm hovering over him and inside of him. Like, I know your thoughts. I know this is what you're thinking, but he's saying it. I'm saying it as if he's saying it. I don't know. It really freed up something in me.
Well, I mean, reading them, it's so clear that is Charlie speaking.
Oh,
I mean, they're
wow.
so visceral. I read again the one when he goes and performs, but before that, I read the one of lying down on the road.
Yeah.
It really reminded me of Cormac McCarthy, actually. I've got to tell you, it was just had so much to it that was just McCarthy. But let's just take a minute to let that in.
That went right over my head.
But the moment I started reading it, I was like, okay, I'm in his body and we're walking along. It's like, it's so clear, his voice. And so my experience reading them is that he is, entering inside of you and using you as a conduit, and he is speaking.
How freaking cool. I mean, if that's what's happening, then I'm all for it. Like, use me, Charlie, because he did die young, and he was a creative genius. He really, really had so much. He was writing for Sailing Magazine. He had these incredible stories. I have many of them in the closet right here of just these fictional stories that he was writing and never really got to the meat of his life.
Yeah.
So it
doesn't feel like fiction. It doesn't feel like fiction.
Wow.
They don't feel like fiction.
I struggle writing. I'll tell you that. Like, words don't come easily for me. I close my eyes and grind my teeth a lot. Like, what is my
that's
body
just called
trying
writing. Can I just say that's just called writing?
See, in my head, it's like everybody's like, here's Eleanor.
No. Sorry, carry on.
Oh, that's hilarious. Okay, so writing for all of us, not easy. But I will say these 3 second person Charlies in defense of, they just flew out. They came out so easily. And like, it's just like I'm right there hovering over him, watching the whole scenario. And so that feels thrilling when typically it's just, laborious.
Yeah, and it's a ride. I mean, I'll use the word again, they feel visceral. So whether they are, they're absolutely, to me as a reader, they're fiction in all their beautiful, in their language and in their arcs and in the storytelling of them. But they also feel literally like I'm inside his body walking along that road. So there's that, they're magic, to use that word again, that they're really great. And it is, he may have been a great writer, but you're a great writer. They are lyrical and beautiful. And they just hit that mark between, like, we're right in there and they're full of description, but there's nothing extraneous. Like, there's no overdoing. And that's a very, very fine line to walk, like that line he walks on the road. And you're walking it.
Thank you, Eleanor.
They're really beautiful.
God, that means so much to me. That makes me want to write another one. I mean,
good.
I've got plenty of poems. This one was challenging, though, because I didn't even know what the hell he was writing about with this.
Yeah.
That poem was very abstract. Yeah. And I knew that he was
Was it on the page like that? Was it on
Yeah,
the
it
page
was
like
on the
that?
page like that.
Page
Yeah,
like
I
that.
had it. I transcribed it so that it was exactly the way it was in the book. But I knew that he had gotten a medical leave from the San Diego Navy base and was 69, was headed to Vietnam, right with all of his buddies. And I knew that he felt guilt about it. I knew he never wanted to go. And I don't know if he hitchhiked home from there, but it built up this tension in me of like, and how did he feel about that with all of his friends heading straight over to Vietnam, and a fluke for him. He had been in a toboggan accident like 6 months earlier and broke his spine, and so he got out of it. And
Wow.
I just, it does make me. He carried some heaviness in him. I know
Yeah.
that only because now I haven't read his journals, but his sister has all of his journals, and she's conveyed to me that he was not a very happy guy at the end of his life. He was struggling a lot with his choices. Yeah. And I know those places in my own mind where you second guess everything and you want something, but it doesn't, it's just, there's too much dialogue in here to make it happen.
Yeah. I mean, you're doing him a favor,
Mm.
doing what you're doing, because he's speaking again and there's a finishing that's happening. I think
Oh,
that's how it
wow.
feels when I read them.
That's,
Like he's alive.
oh, thank you for saying this. It hasn't occurred to me.
No, it
Truly.
wouldn't because you're in the middle of it. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Now I want to like go digging through his poems. It's a little bit like tarot. I'll just throw them on the floor and I'm like, which one do I want to do next?
Yeah.
Because of course they're all like typed out, I mean, none of these were from a computer. They're like just handwritten and typed out, and it's just wild. I think I included in the memoir, one of the stories he wrote right before he died was about a sailor feigning his death in a sailing accident, and of course that's how he dies. So again, there's also that, which of course none of us believe that he's around anymore, but how strange. Because there is someone that thinks one of the beauties behind Empress, one of the angel investors says, I think Charlie's still alive.
Oh, God. Imagine if he turned up in New York.
I know. I'm like, well, you're going to be on a billboard, Charlie, in Times Square soon. So.
Right. So turn up.
Turn up.
Jesus. Is that...
Yeah, maybe there's a part 2 to this that we're not even aware of.
Fucking hell.
Fucking hell.
Is that timeline possible? As in, like, how old would he be?
Well, yeah. He would be 70. He was born in 49. So,
oh my God,
74.
Kim.
No,
Okay.
he would be very much, he had a very loving family. So that's the part. And he was very connected to them. So that's the part where like, why would you fake your death if you have a great
why would you
family?
disappear? Yeah.
But there are stories of people getting hit on the head.
People do it all the time.
Having amnesia, forgetting who the fuck they are.
Until they see themselves on a billboard in Times Square. And go, what the fuck?
Okay, Elisa, you got to capture that on camera if that happens.
If that happens. Jeez. Okay. To be continued.
To be continued. I know.
So before we go, I just want to touch on the unfixed writing life that you're doing. Do you want to tell people about that? Because what an incredible opportunity to come and work with you.
Oh, thank you, Eleanor. Well, this came about because for me, I am walking in the dark and very much wayfinding that way. And that is how I found my words. It is even not an accident that I told you this is Ocean Vuong's book. Have you read, by the way?
Yes.
Yeah. Truly one of my favorite, might be my number one favorite book.
It's extraordinary. One
of the things that really helped me with this book is because English wasn't his first language. Vietnamese was. And so his metaphors are imperfect. And like the way he finds his descriptions and his emotions and embodies them is unusual. They're not kind of how we typically express ourselves. And it gave me permission to do the same because I feel often like English isn't my first language. Not that there's another language.
Yeah. No, but I
but
understand what you mean.
yeah, like kinesthesia is my first language.
Yeah.
And so I can't be the only one. And this course is called Writing the Unfixed Life. And I feel like we can look at unfixed. It doesn't have to mean you're in chronic illness or you're in the middle of a divorce or any of that. It can just mean you're in the dark with those words. And let's find those words because they're there. And I found those words in my body. And it's slow and it's quiet and it's very, very mysterious and fulfilling to finally hear that there is knowledge and wisdom in there. But we really have to find a way to bypass the thinking mind because, boy, she'll get in there first and say, I've got a story to tell. And that's not how I wrote my book at all. And if it had been, you guys wouldn't even be here. You would have been like, Kimberly is stupid. Like, just, like I wouldn't have pulled you in my body.
Yeah. It's true. It's true. It's absolutely true. The way, the rhythm, the tone, the language, the magic that's actually the greater than the sum of all of those parts. That's what pulled us in because you wrote from that place. So we will always only go as deep as the writer.
Yeah.
The place from which they write. That literally, it's scientific. You can only go as deep as the place from which the writer writes. That's exactly how I wrote my memoir as well, because I could not figure this thing out. But my way of like breaking that stranglehold of, the basic English education system, which says no sentence, you don't begin a sentence with and all the rules that Ocean Vuong so beautifully breaks, where he just his descriptions or his sentences, they, again, if you pick them apart, it's like, that doesn't make any sense. But when you read them as one, you're more than there. You're completely inside. You understand. He could be writing in any language at all, but we're in. And that's the bit. And I broke it just by writing every morning without, like, my brain was still asleep.
Oh, that's clever. I if I could get out of bed early enough, I would do that.
Yeah.
But you did, even in
I did that.
You had all this back pain that you were experiencing when you were coming back to the UK, and you were, your body was speaking to you too. And
my God, was it ever?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I think writing that, exactly, I got this 30,000-foot view, and anybody listening who wants to come and work with Kim and you bring your memoir to life, this is what you'll experience. You get this view suddenly where all these things make sense. Yeah, I had things rupture. I had a disc rupture. I had a fallopian tube rupture. I had an appendix rupture. Just like bang, 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 like literally within like 2.5 years, something extraordinary.
Wow.
I was like, but I was too young to understand. I just kept, and I'm a metal pig, in Chinese law, and I just like, it served me well, and it's also not, because it's just made me, I've pushed through and pushed through and pushed through until eventually, actually, I just found sobriety. That was really the final bit. And then I was like, okay, wait a minute, let's stop.
Isn't it interesting, though? You use the word rupture 3 times, and with all those physical symptoms, like for you, rupture was the force that was like coming from the outside that was, creating that transformation. For me, it was this instability, like more of a, a watery sort of interruption. But I like, it makes me think like you have a book in you that's just called Rupture, like that.
It's a good word. Yeah.
It's a really good word. Yes. And I feel that in your writing. I feel the rupture.
Thanks. I think because there was such iron bars around me of how to live, that the only way to break out is that kind of explosive force.
Yes.
Yeah. So you're absolutely right. That was my body's way of breaking out into, reconnecting with reality. I've just been writing an essay about reality and my journey back to find it. And that's material, imaginary, and divine, those three realms that constitute reality. And that journey back to get there. And that exactly, I think, with Unfixed, it's exactly those realms that you have embodied within those pages. The material and the imagination, the imaginary and the divine have come together in Unfixed, the memoir. And it's something of beauty.
Oh, Eleanor, I wish I could just give you the biggest hug, and I will.
Have a hug. I know. I'm imagining you're going to be like 7 foot tall or 3 foot 5. Do you know what I mean? Like if you.
I'm not 7 feet tall.
I've got a tail. I know, we're going to hug. We're nearly at time. So look, just to go back. So anybody who wants to work with Kimberly writing, on Kimberly Substack, you can find the link. You can work on Unfixed. What's it called? Unfixed.
Writing the Unfixed Life.
Writing the Unfixed Life. There you go. Work with Kimberly. It'll be amazing. I want to
pre-order my book.
Pre-order her book. Pre-order her book right now. It's absolutely fucking amazing. Really, pre-order it right now. And I want to thank you as well for all of your work in the Unfixed community, Unfixed media. I've been all the way through that. You know, as I've said, Andy, I live and love a man who is very much dealing with chronic conditions, and it is just so beautiful to hear other people talk about their life, and it helps me understand better.
Good. I'm so glad. Thank you. And if Andy ever wants to chat with me, have a little solidarity, please. I'm always happy.
Okay. Oh, that is so great. I think you probably will.
I share the hypervigilance with him. So.
Yeah, and I think because I'm so made of metal, I find it really difficult to understand the what does he call it? Like the hypersensitivity. I'm literally the opposite of that. I'm made of steel.
Yeah.
And so to witness this hypersensitivity in someone is just like, okay, I went through of course now I totally believe him, but there's a bit very early on when you're like, really?
Oh yeah.
But now totally. I'm like, okay, I get it. It's like, wow. Yeah. And then I just thought, my God, you're so brave.
Well, you guys are a great pair because Dave is the same as you. He's more wood energy or earth energy, but that's like, water just wants to just hug that and swirl around it and find some grounding with it. And he also went through that period of like, what the fuck, man? Like, just walk across the street with me. Everything's gonna be fine.
It's a trip, I think. And I think Andy finds me super tough. He says it's an emotional workout, like emotional fitness center being with me because I'm like, come on.
Well, okay, so I know you're going to be my lightning rod when we're at that party in New York.
Yes, I am.
If I like attach my arm to you, that's why.
Yeah, man. You link. That's what I'll do.
I'm going to be your barnacle.
Yep, be my barnacle. Oh. Okay, my darling, I've taken an hour of your time. It's been amazing.
Thank you so much. Wow, what fun. You are just so full of life, and I appreciate you to pieces.
Oh, I appreciate you, and I love you very much.
Love you.
And I'll see you in a couple of weeks. Wowza.
Okay. Yowza. Okay. Bye, everyone.
Bye, everyone. Thanks for coming. Bye.